Visa wants to know where you would like to be. Whether you're a super fan or just in it to win your league, Visa knows we want to spend less time standing in line and more time pursuing our passions. That's why for over 60 years, Visa's been adding innovative plays to the way we pay. From tapping to pay to getting paid in 30 minutes or less, they're giving businesses and consumers more tools to do just that. They know that every Visa transaction is a promise. Whether it's a street vendor in front of a stadium or picking up the latest NFL gear online, Visa wants to provide us with the most secure and easy payment experience possible so everyone, everywhere, can get to where they'd like to be. Visa, everywhere you want to be.
Hey, y'all. Uncle Jimmy here. When you speak for yourself, you're forced to think for yourself. And when you think for yourself, the sports world looks different. In order to enjoy this podcast and this show, you need to have the courage to look at the world from alternative points of view and not be offended when you disagree. Speak for Yourself isn't your Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram feed. SFY tells you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. So, welcome aboard, buckle up, and enjoy the ride.
We start with Dak Prescott. Last night was the river card for the Cowboys quarterback. He needed an ace. The Chicago Bears turned over a 7. Dallas' 7th loss of the season with just 3 games to play. Dak Prescott is not a franchise quarterback. He's not a young Warren Moon, a developing Rich Gannon, a potential Russell Wilson. Dak is a solid NFL quarterback, a jag, just a guy. A cut below Jimmy Garoppolo and a tiny cut above Derek Carr.
Oh.
Dak is the black Andy Dalton, a rifle with just enough bullets and range to fool some NFL fan base into believing it's deadly enough to win the playoff war with the right breaks. Andy Dalton won 50 games his first 5 seasons in the NFL, and then the reality of his limitations cost Marvin Lewis his job in Cincinnati. Dak is on pace to win 50-5. He'll do it with far more help than Dalton ever received. It's appropriate and fair to take a dump on Cowboys head coach Jason Garrett and even Dallas's childlike offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. But neither Garrett nor Moore are angling for a $35 million a year payday. They don't pay coaches that kind of money. That kind of cash is reserved for quarterbacks, guys who are paid lavishly to turn a bad hand of cards into a winner. All season, Dak and his agent Todd France have been in a high-stakes poker game with Jerry Jones over a contract extension. Dallas's 31-24 loss to the Bears revealed Dak and France are holding a pair of deuces with a high-card jack. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. It's time for Dak to fold and Jerry to walk away. A big-money long-term contract is no longer an option for Dak Prescott, and I wouldn't put the franchise tag on him next season either. I've seen enough. Dak is a mid to low 20s quarterback. Right now, don't be fooled by the stats. Trust what your eyes are telling you. Dak gobbled up a bunch of empty calories last night. Late in the third quarter with the Bears leading 24-7, Dak had 60 passing yards. 60. He finished the night with 334 yards and a touchdown. His 4,122 passing yards leads the NFL. You know who's number 2? Jameis Winston. Number 3, Phillip Rivers. Number 4, Jared Goff. Number 5, Tom Brady. They're all having disappointing years. All of them are in a fight to hold on to their jobs next season. Can Dak Prescott improve? Absolutely. But there's no reason to pay a quarterback $30 million while he's still in the development stage. Why should Dallas repeat the mistake the Rams made with Jared Goff? If Dak hit the free agent market this season, no one is paying him $30 million. He would be offered Nick Foles-type money, something in the low 20s. Dak Prescott is an amazing story. He was drafted in the 4th round and has exceeded all expectations. He's a high-character leader. He embodies many of the same attitude characteristics that I love about Lamar Jackson. But Dak is an average starting quarterback. You don't push all the chips to the middle of the table for an average QB. All right, joining the desk now are Fox Sports NFL analyst LeVar Arrington.
Lamar Jackson Arrington, baby.
And TJ Houshmandzadeh.
Yeah.
Marcellus,
where the ball at?
I'll start with you. Is Dak Prescott a franchise quarterback?
You are cold-blooded. I mean, Lord, love you for that last paragraph to throw in. Oh, high character, he's come a long way. Great, go Dak.
Beat him up and then try to stand him up.
Just stand
I
him
love
up
that.
for some more. Look, He is a franchise quarterback. At minimum, franchise tag, and we went through the numbers several times. Let's do it again. You franchise Dak Prescott twice. That will be 2 years, $73 million. That is a bargain for Dak Prescott going forward based on the market, based on his numbers, and based on what he's done in the league. Don't forget, Dak Prescott is a winner as well. Hasn't won a championship. What, third most wins since he's been a quarterback?
6 and 7.
Huh?
He's 6 and 7. He
Which
was
is
a
more
winner.
to my point. You know how much winning you have to do if you're 6 and 7, you still have the third most wins? Go Dak Prescott. Second of all, you talk
Andy Dalton won 50 games in 5 years.
Hey, Andy Dalton's in a completely different situation than this situation. This situation right here, with him at the quarterback position, stabilizing this locker room, being a leader, being someone that you can depend on and count on. What I love about Dak is the fact that he's not just empty calories. He's thrown for over 400 yards 3 times this year. 2 of them were wins. So let's not act like he's always just out there padding his stats. But the best point about him being a franchise quarterback is guys like you who are criticizing him now. Because just a month ago, when Dak Prescott was 5-3 in the MVP conversation.
No, he was never in my MVP conversation.
You work at Fox? Me too. Okay, Fox Bet had Dak Prescott number 3 in the MVP conversation in odds. And I have to, look, I like working here. I don't know about you, but I respect what they put out there. So the point is, as coaches always say, be even keel. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. You're trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater. A month ago, you weren't. So why are you trying to do it now?
Is he a franchise quarterback? Absolutely. This is a team game, ultimate team game. And Dak Prescott is one of the only quarterbacks in the league that when they play well, everybody else gets the credit. It's, oh, that defense is playing great. Oh, he has the best offensive line in football. Oh, he got Ezekiel Elliott. Oh, he's playing well because he has Amari Cooper. Did Amari Cooper lift Dak Prescott, or did Dak Prescott lift Amari Cooper? Because nobody was talking about Amari Cooper like that when he was Oakland.
Is he better than Andy Dalton?
Yes, he's better than Andy Dalton.
Why?
Because he's a better quarterback. He's a better thrower of the football. He's a better runner of the football. He seems like he processes information faster. He has a better arm. And he's playing indoors, whereas Andy Dalton's playing outside in Cincinnati. But this is the thing. The last quarterback to go to the Hall of Fame was Kurt Warner. Everybody needs weapons. Who'd he play with? Marshall Faulk, Oz Hakeem, Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce. Oh, and then he goes to Arizona and plays with Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan
Kurt
Boldin.
Warner was the MVP of the NFL.
What I'm saying is this. Every quarterback that has success, you have to have great players around you.
Yeah.
Period.
Oh, Dak's playing with the Bengals?
No. Dak Prescott needs Dak Prescott needs players around him just like everybody else.
He's got them.
And those players aren't. Look at the defense last night. They missed
See how
tackles.
many inaccurate passes he threw?
Every quarterback that's ever played throws inaccurate passes.
Occasionally, not consistently.
Oh, I want to jump in here right now, and I am. Guess what? Who ain't playing well? Who got all that money? And Jerry won't even point him out because he's like, dang, I don't want to say buyer's remorse. Ezekiel Elliott, last 5 weeks. How many times he went over 100 yards? Anybody? And don't talk about the carries, because he's getting carries too. 19 carries, 21 carries, 20 carries. No 100 yards. The highest paid running back in the league is not supporting Dak Prescott,
Getting
but blame Dak.
$13 million a year. Dak wants 35. I gotta cut it out.
I'm glad y'all made my point. My point is he's not a franchise quarterback. And the reason why is, my first point is there's too many what ifs. What if they didn't pay Ezekiel Elliott? What if Ezekiel Elliott got more yards? What if the owner and the GM wasn't so meddling and so involved with everything that was going on? What if they had a better coach? What if Amari Cooper caught the ball more? What if the defense played better, right? Franchise quarterbacks are franchise quarterbacks in spite of. That's my take on it, all right?
So
in
how many
spite of
franchise
the owner,
quarterbacks are in the league right now then, in your opinion?
you know, I was doing a count, like I was thinking Russell Wilson, Drew Brees.
Russell Wilson?
Yes.
He had the #1 running attack last year.
That's
He's
all
still a
right. He's still a
franchise
franchise quarterback.
I'm just saying.
No, they are building.
They don't
their
take
team.
everything
They
around
are
him.
building
Okay.
their team around
Okay,
Russell
I'm just saying he
Wilson.
had
Absolutely.
Russell Wilson, Drew Brees.
Deshaun Watson, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. Yeah, Aaron
They win
Rodgers.
in spite of #1
Yes,
rushing attack.
yes, they win
you
in
just
spite
named
of.
#1 defenses. You named
They fix problems. They mask problems.
They have
cover
fewer
up problems.
You have fewer
They may have
problems.
fewer.
When you have
It's
the
still-
#1 run
it's still going to
offense,
be an in spite
it's
of.
easy.
They have one of the best offensive lines in Dallas right now.
That's a
supposedly
myth.
one of the
Yeah,
best
that's a
running backs.
myth.
I don't- Just based off of what I've seen from years past.
Tyron Smith has been hurt back and forth in the lineup, and it's not.
But
not
the investment came because they felt as though they had positive, strong personnel. You mentioned not stabilizing a locker room. That is not a stable locker room. And I don't think Dak Prescott has stabilized that. No, it's not a stable locker room.
I'm talking about in terms of personality and direction. Yes, they are. In terms of win-loss, no. But that's coming from a different source.
I don't buy that because, again, it still comes to in spite of. Sometimes you have coaches that I can remember a time when John Elway was beefing with Dan Reeves. They would still win in spite of. Now, getting to that next level, getting to the pinnacle, that was a whole nother discussion. But John Elway still was able to produce in spite of. And to me, I don't see Dak Prescott producing in spite of. And for what it's worth, they invested their money in the player that they thought would produce in spite of in Ezekiel Elliott.
And how's he doing?
And maybe that's turned out to be a wrong decision to make.
That's a different conversation.
Sure it is.
That's a different.
But it plays into this conversation, obviously.
TJ, I'm just sitting here blown away. This guy is Andy Dalton, and I don't say that maliciously. Andy Dalton had some success when he had you and Chad.
No. We didn't play with Andy Dalton. But Andy Dalton, AJ Green, if he's healthy, one of the best receivers.
Yeah.
He had a great running game. And people now, the culture in Cincinnati is different than the culture in Dallas. It's a different dynamic.
He had a monster running game. He had two backs.
Cincinnati had good players.
They had
good players.
So does Dallas.
They do have good players. But to say the going price for a starting quarterback that has success is what it is.
I get that.
It is what it is.
We're not talking about money. We're talking about, is he a franchise quarterback? There's a lot of guys getting paid to be franchise quarterbacks who aren't. Dak Prescott is not like Lamar, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Drew Brees.
There's a handful of those that you say.
Yeah, those are franchise quarterbacks. The team rallies around them. The team takes their instincts from them. The team believes it's going to win because of those guys. Dak Prescott right now, and he could change, but right now he's a complimentary piece.
Name a signature victory that Dak has gotten. We talk about Deshaun, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar. Lamar, you can name who you want to pick Lamar's beat. You can name who Drew Brees beat because there's so many of them. Patrick Mahomes.
He beat Seattle last year in the playoffs.
That's last year. That's last year.
You said franchise quarterback. How you going to be a franchise quarterback without taking your whole body of work?
Signature this year.
We only going to take one season?
I'm looking at it recent. I'm looking at recency effect of now.
Okay, they're in the playoffs
Even when you look at when the list of quarterbacks were put up there and Tom Brady was last and it was stated that even they're looking for what their next job is going to be. I still look at Tom Brady as a franchise caliber quarterback. Why? Because even in spite of his decline in play,
I have the number one defense in the league in spite of.
They're number 2.
Exactly.
In spite of.
They're 10-2. They're 10-2.
He's got no weapons.
I agree with you. I do agree.
Man, you can't win a game without scoring points.
I'm having a bad year in spite of, but I have the number one. I mean, it goes both ways.
They have signature victories.
They have signature
victories.
There's just, other than the red hair, there's no difference between this dude and Andy Dalton.
Y'all keep telling me this in spite of. I love that definition.
Okay.
I just don't like how you're applying it.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson. There's no greater fan of Lamar Jackson than me, and I was first to the damn fandom train.
Okay.
Now let me tell you about the 2 losses that they had this year. When they lost, Lamar Jackson, what happened? Everyone can say, well, he didn't play up to standard. You know who really didn't play up to standard? The defense.
We can't compare a 7-loss quarterback to a 2-loss
Hold on, we can compare the variables. Yes, we can.
Losses.
Because the losses occur when the defense gives up 530 yards and 503 yards.
But if your
then you're
offense
not a superpower
if your offense is not doing what it's supposed to do, the other offense is going to have way more opportunities to do what they're doing to create
and
those
if your
moments
offense is now losing its direction because our engine doesn't fire the same, Ezekiel Elliott the last 5 weeks, and we're talking about 2-3
Zeke's the
games.
engine. Zeke's the engine. So Zeke's the franchise player.
That he is because they paid him.
Was Terrell Davis the engine with John Elway? It gets quiet.
John Elway was your franchise player. That's not even up for debate.
First of all,
First
of all, John Elway's at the end of his career.
Yeah.
Zach is in his prime and angling to get $35 million a year.
The market is.
regardless, he is whatever the market.
Look at
market
Troy
quarterback.
Aikman. Look at when you had Troy Aikman and you had Emmitt Smith and you had
Mike
Novacek
Irvin.
and you had Mike Irving. Your undisputed franchise player was Troy Aikman. Is anybody going to debate that?
No,
Okay.
I would.
If you,
I would.
what?
Yeah,
With
Emmitt
who?
Smith.
I
When
know
Emmitt
it's
Smith-
no way. He
When
wouldn't
Emmitt
know
Smith sat
Not
down,
even close.
the whole train stopped.
But
You look at
That was that offensive line.
How
No
many
way.
guys on that team on the
did. No way.
offensive side of the ball went to the Hall of Fame?
A lot.
Right.
That's
so
the
you're
point.
playing with great players.
And how many on Dak's team right now?
Troy was your franchise guy. They built that team
But
around
things
Troy
work hand in
Aikman.
They
hand.
work together.
You have to play with great players.
This team is not being built around Dak Prescott. It was being built around the player that they paid franchise money to. So the
let me
market
ask
is
you
already
this.
spoken.
Let me ask you this.
It's Zeke.
Does Dak need more pieces around him than Aaron Rodgers?
Yes.
Does Dak need more pieces around him than Patrick Mahomes?
Yes. But you
Because they're better quarterbacks.
Because those are franchise quarterbacks.
Hold up.
And he's not.
Patrick Mahomes.
We don't need to witness.
No.
Coercing.
We don't know how Patrick Mahomes would play without what he has.
Ooh,
we don't know that.
We don't
know that.
There's a whole bunch of what ifs.
Do we know how
That's why I
well
let
Patrick
out
Mahomes would
What
play
if?
if he didn't have Tyreek Hill, Travis
let me
Kelce,
tell you this.
Sammy? We don't know. We've never
TJ,
seen it.
TJ, you done retire right now to go play with Patrick Mahomes, so quit lying. You can speculate about
and
what
he
Patrick Mahomes would do. You can
certainly would.
speculate.
Take me with you. Take me with you.
So quit lying. And
We don't
can
know.
speculate.
That's all
no.
we've
We
seen.
can speculate though,
I
and
would
it would look
assume-
damn good.
I would assume.
It would look damn good.
Amazing.
So I'm just sorry. Lamar Jackson, does he need everything to be perfect? Does he have a laundry list of
He needs the
superstar
running
wide
game to
receivers?
work as he
does.
works
He
the
works
running game. And he needs his defense. When the defense let him down in games, they lost those games. That's all we're saying.
They all need something to work.
Are there levels to franchise quarterback? I think our argument.
Yes, there are levels. There are
yes,
levels
there
to
are.
it.
So
Yeah.
why are you not being?
It's a different level.
Yes. Why are you not being understanding that
Andy
Dak may be a
Dalton
lower
level.
level?
He's at the Andy Dalton level.
So he's not
Is he
a
a franchise
high level.
quarterback? Huh?
He's
Is
not a
Andy
high
Dalton
level
franchise
franchise
In
quarterback.
Cincinnati, unfortunately, he was.
Wait a minute. There are 32
for like
franchises.
9 years, they're starting quarterbacks. So somebody would call him a franchise quarterback.
Would you?
But no one pays him $30 million.
Because his contract's not up at the time when he's at his peak powers. If his contract's up in this market, in his peak powers, Andy Dalton would get 30.
He was tier C.
Jared Goff got it.
Tier A, B, and C.
Who is
Carson
Patrick,
Wentz
who's
got it.
Patrick Mahomes' quarterback?
Tier C.
Who's Patrick Mahomes? Who's Patrick Mahomes' coach?
Andy Reid.
Who's Dak Prescott's coach?
A new guy.
There you go. The
new guy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
New guy.
Name Aaron
But he's
Rodgers'
had the same
coach.
head coach.
Mike
Name-
LaFleur.
No, it ain't Aaron Rodgers' coach.
Matt LaFleur?
You don't know
McCarthy
anything
got him
about
going.
it.
I know Matt LaFleur, but McCarthy is made
It
Aaron
doesn't
Rodgers.
matter. I can go coach Aaron Rodgers. And
here
we all think that,
halfway.
so we have to do it.
Yeah, at the end, anybody could do that. How'd you get them built, though? You didn't build them. It's a difference, man. Isolate variables. It's simple mathematics, y'all.
Andrew Luck was a sure shot, fire, can't miss franchise quarterback coming out of college, right?
Yeah.
Do we? I don't feel like we're giving and again, when you say franchise quarterback, I do think there's levels to franchise quarterback.
Please.
So let me rephrase and say
Yeah, that's
high level.
Retract.
High
So
level.
now you're
Let me
over
hear
here.
it.
Yeah, retract.
No, I'm not on that
tell you
side.
where he's at.
I'm
He's
saying-
a $20 million franchise quarterback.
Is that what you wanted to say? You wanted to say that?
I was heading toward. I do not think.
Stick around.
What?
Right.
LeVar Arrington and TJ Houshmandzadeh. Time now for a big story. Let's return to Soldier Field, where the Cowboys lost their third straight last night, falling to the Bears 31-24. In a game that wasn't as close as the score, Chicago dominated Dallas for most of the night, moving the ball at will and shutting down the Cowboys' top-ranked offense. After the game, Jason Garrett said he didn't think the team had quit, but Jerry Jones wasn't in a very good mood during his radio interview today.
Are you embarrassed? Are you embarrassed as an organization about how the team is playing?
Get your damn act together yourself, okay? Now we're going to have a good visit this morning, but settle down just a little bit. As far as quitting on Jason Garrett, you got to remember that when you quit on your coach, then you quit on yourself, because we're all a part of this. And you're absolutely right. When we started this show, the one that deserves the most responsibility is the one that ultimately makes the decision to put what players out there and put what coach out there. That's the general manager. In this case, it happens to be the same man that owns the team. And I completely understand the fans' frustration with me.
All right, the question here is, who have the Cowboys quit on, Jason Garrett or Jerry Jones?
To answer the question is Jerry Jones, but let me be specific about what the Cowboys are going through and doing. They're actually fighting their hearts out for Jerry Jones, and he's leading them into no man's land, right off the chessboard, because he has no plan, no philosophy, and no direction in which these guys need to go out there and have discipline towards. When you undermine a coach, and the coach is the one sitting there right in front of you telling you what to do, all of his words ring hollow. And that's what Jerry Jones is doing. He is emasculating his coach. He is undressing his coach and then says, you know what? We have talent. We should win the Super Bowl. Hey, man, it's week 3. Super Bowl? Like, I've never seen you build something so high by focusing only on the high. They tell you the next step is most important. To win the big games, do the little things. And Jerry won't allow his coach to focus in on the little things. So therefore, they don't win it all. And they don't even do the little things correctly when you have this kind of turmoil.
For me, it's who gets up and talks to the team every day? It's Jason Garrett. They don't see Jerry Jones every day. So you can't quit on, yeah, you hear him, but he's not, excuse me, he's not up giving you a message every day. Jason Garrett is the one that's trying to keep you motivated. Jason Garrett is the one that's saying we got to fight. So if they quit on anybody, it has to be the man that stands in front of them every day and tries to motivate them and prepare them. Jerry Jones is going to be there regardless next year. Jason Garrett, he's not going to be there. So if anybody quitting on, it's quitting on the coach, because that's who gets up and is in front of them and is telling, we got to win this. What can you say today now? You go into this, what can you say today?
I lived through it. I'm going to say the owner, and that makes conventional sense. But while I was in Washington, it is a great example. I can remember when Norv, my rookie year, we were going through this same exact type of setup where it was Super Bowl or bust, Super Bowl or bust. They brought in Bruce Smith. They brought in Deion Sanders. We had Darryl Green, Champ Bailey, Marco Coleman. There's a host of other names.
Had a defense.
We had Jeff George, who took over for Brad Johnson, relieved Brad Johnson of his starting duties. It was a loaded team. And like you mentioned, it was really, really a lot of pressure coming from the top, basically, to win it all. It wasn't win week 1. Okay, win week 2. Right. Prepare for week 3. It was Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. It's so crazy. I remember we just come off the field, and if we won the game, Dan be there hugging you. Hey, we lose the game. Dan be standing there looking at you like this.
What'd it do?
You bomb.
Every last one of you. And the most important one was Norv. You see Norv come walking by. You see Norv come by. Norv be just like this. And I can remember. It's so interesting. I can remember when we lost to Dallas and he got fired. And you can hear how he was getting cussed out, right? So when you see the behind the scenes of a guy that is controlling his franchise the way that, and I wasn't there in Dallas, so I don't know how Jerry does it, but just understanding how much a owner that calls the shots can cripple the authority of a coach. These guys have quit on the owner, and they quit on the owner because they know that they're in a non-winning situation. They have lost the belief in being able to win.
Yeah, I can't dispute anything any of you all have said. I will say, though, that I think they've quit on Garrett at Jerry's behest. I think Jerry has moved on from Jason Garrett. Yeah. Again, I said it earlier in the week. I think Jerry, in his mind, has verbally or in some way committed to some other coach, and he's just letting this thing play out until he can get Urban Meyer or whoever the hell, Ron Rivera. I don't know who it is, Sean Payton. I don't, Jim Hart. Who? It's somebody he's got in mind, and he wanted this team to do exactly what they did last night because he's done with Jason Garrett.
Yeah, man. Look, having kids, man, having a nanny. You got to empower the nanny, man, because the kids with the nanny, you go around undressing the nanny, talking about, oh, I'll handle him. You got to have the independent power to handle those situations, or my son will go ham on the nanny. But he doesn't because the nanny has her own relationship, own power with those that they're in charge of. This is a situation that's funny. I lived through this situation with a greater coach, Hall of Fame coach, Bill Parcells. Jason Garrett's had more success with the Dallas Cowboys than Bill Parcells. A lot of people don't want to digest that, but you have to understand what that means. What the hell he's dealing with in Jason Garrett. And Jason Garrett doesn't have a personality where he's going to want conflict. He believes so much in himself. He's so caught up in his own skin and comfortable in it that when you're tripping, you're tripping. And Jerry, you're my boss and you're tripping. I'm just going to allow that to be, and I'm going to do what I have to do. But the problem is Jerry has direct communication to those 53 guys who are now being deflated by his message and can't be inflated by their coach's message. So they're lifeless. They're out there playing without the emotional energy needed to make plays.
When you look at a team, you look at the top. You got 5 or 6 guys that are franchise players that regardless coach on, they can't do anything to those guys. Then you got the middle of the roster guys. Then you got the bottom of the roster guys, the special teams guys, the guys that are inactive. Those guys can't afford to quit because a lot of those guys,
Their jobs depend
on it, but they know Jason Garrett leaves, I'm out of a job. And now that new coach comes in, he's going to bring in his guys, those bottom of the roster guys, those special team guys, those guys that are inactive. So if anybody has quit, it's the best players because they know you can't do nothing to me. I'm going to be here. Those bottom of the roster guys, they can't afford to quit because this is their livelihood. They know these coaches are gone, we've all been on teams when you get a new head coach, you bring like 6, 7, 8 players with him from his old team.
But the only problem with that is, I always said this because I was asked about that when I was an active player, and the response that I gave was, getting a new coach is like playing a game of Russian roulette, right? You put the bullet in the chamber, you spin that thing. All right? That coach get fired.
Hope he like
bam! All right, it was empty. Click. Right? You keep firing, you keep having a coaching carousel. Before long, them players are going to have that bullet go off.
You're going to be a casualty of war.
You're going to be a casualty of it. So nobody wins in this. Even if you are a guy that's maybe, hey, we're going to have a new coach. I'm waiting till next year, see what this coach is talking about. You're still in a state of the unknown. You're still in a state of flux because you as a franchise guy, where are we going with this? I gave my best years to having a new head coach. I gave my best years to having a new defensive coordinator. New defensive coordinator for 4 years straight. New head coach had more head coaches than years in the league at one point. If you run your franchise that way, where your franchise guys are feeling that way and the lower tier guys have to deal with the uncertainties of what the environment is creating, you do not have a franchise that is suitable to win.
The thing about what TJ is saying, mixed with what you're talking about, the Dallas situation is unique in the dynamic. So what it makes you, first of all, I don't believe any players quit. Like, I may not have 100% achievement, but I'm giving you 100% effort. But the problem is direction. So what we're talking about is a culture in Dallas which makes the players ambivalent. Like, just being real. Mixed feelings, contradictory messages. You know what? They don't have the piercing of all going in unison in one direction. So that's why they get splintered. And it's not so much an effort thing. It's just they're going in different directions. You can look at the offense right now. Ezekiel Elliott, in the last 5 weeks, I already pointed out, is not doing well. So what happens is, which direction are we going to run this offense? We're going to run it through our engine, or are we going to put it on Dak? And then you don't know which way is up because neither way is optimal.
Whitlock and Wiley, LeVar Arrington is back. We're joined now by former Patriots offensive lineman Rich Ohrnberger. All right, let's talk some Antonio Brown, whose erratic behavior around the issue of his NFL future continued today. Just a few days after reposting criticism of Patriots owner Robert Kraft on social media, Brown has now issued yet another in a long line of apologies for his recent behavior, writing on Instagram, quote, "Over the past few weeks, I've had the opportunity to think about everything that's transpired, and I'm deeply sorry to all who I've offended. While my behavior was inexcusable, sometimes when people are coming at you with false information and allegations, we handle ourselves in ways that we sometimes regret. I do take full responsibility for my actions, and I'm working every day to repair what I broke. To the organizations that I offended, I offer my sincere apology to you, and my hope is that you forgive me and help me move on from this minor setback." All right, should NFL teams take this apology seriously?
No, because I don't. I defend me some AB, and he's had some things go against him there. I thought he had genuine points. Over the summer and even in the offseason, there were some times where I would go to bat for AB, but in this situation, I won't. I don't see the sincerity in what he's saying because of the translation of what he's saying. What he's saying is, you know what, I'm working on myself. And if you ever let me play football again, guess what? I'll show you that I'm a better person. But the problem is, what got you out of football was not your production. It's not that workplace. It's how you are as a person. So why don't you take the proper time and also the proper distance from the workplace and focus on what undermined your opportunities in the first place, which is you, which is your mental health, which is whatever is causing this erratic behavior. You have to fix you first. And I don't think that apologies will fully do the job in terms of him being a better person. How about time? How about a reputation that is earned, not just given? And just like the opportunity of the NFL, it's not a birthright. I'm heartless when it comes to guys being in the league or not. I don't care if you're in the league or not. You have to earn it, brother. Don't come up to me, hey, Wiley, coach, can you put in the word? No. You know why? You go get it with your muscle. And the same with you, AB. And if you're not in the league, it's your own doing. Simple as that. So, AB, take time for you, and then we'll see what's going on with the league.
I completely agree with everything you just said. Apologies aren't conditional. When you put out an apology and the word if is included, if I'm given another opportunity, I'll prove. No. A very great counselor in my young life said to me once, forgiveness is earned with action, not with words. All he's done is said a lot of stuff. What has he proven to any of us? To any of the executives making these decisions, the owners, some of which who he publicly humiliated, and the coaches and players who also have livelihoods to earn, playing alongside this guy who may be there next week or may not, plus the legal issues in civil court that still need to be cleared. I mean, there's a lot of baggage with Antonio Brown. Prove to all of us with your actions that you're ready for the responsibility and the hefty weight of being a teammate, a person others can rely on. Before any of this is given, it must be earned.
Testify, bro.
I think it's a sincere apology. I do believe he's still deflecting a bit in the things that you can hear him say in the letter. But how can he prove that he's changing? How can he prove that he's repented? How can he do these things if he's not given the opportunity? Listen.
I'd get on a plane and go out to Oakland and apologize personally to Mike Mayock and Antonio and John Gruden.
Private plane, too.
And that's
private.
Again, that could be fair. But again, when I look at it from where AB is coming from and his angle and perspective, I think that AB is very, very desperate in the sense that this season is winding down. 3 games left. If you make it to the offseason, you got to think you're heading into the abyss of your career, right? Like, no matter how good you are, look, where's Dez Bryant? Where have we heard from him? You disappear. And I think he's starting to feel the reality. He's sensing that's very close to where he's at, and he probably will never get this opportunity again. In that, even if it's based off of selfishness, not selflessness, it's still a genuine apology.
Yeah, it's the best he can think to do, but there are better ways to apologize. I don't believe in apologies without some sort of sacrifice, some type of contribution, some type of make good. In terms of that's what makes an apology seem sincere to me. Yeah. If I just offer you words, that doesn't do anything for me. Again, if he were willing to invest in like, hey man, I made a fool out of John Gruden and Mike Mayock, and I really need to, at least by name in this, damn, when I look back in retrospect at how I treated the Raiders who went all in on me, I regret that, Coach Gruden. I'd love for you to take my phone call so I can express that sincerely. Bob Kraft, what I did to you, Bill Belichick, Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh organization, I don't hear any of that. I hear AB just inching. Well, I got to do this. Okay, well, this is the best I can do.
No, I love what you're saying because guess what? This guy he's a hard worker. That's all you hear about it, Antonio Brown. This guy shows up every single day. He's on the jugs machine catching balls with both his hands. He's out there an hour after practice. He's used to hard work. This is easy. This took 20 minutes and a typewriter. I mean, what are we doing?
Someone probably wrote it for him. I'm going to be honest with you. Someone, his agent, or that's what you pay people for.
Yeah.
And so I just don't, there's not much effort here.
Yeah, you earn a living in this league. And I'm talking to two guys I have a tremendous amount of respect who played in more.
I appreciate it.
When you play in this league, you make sacrifices. It's the pound of flesh. It's the hard work that goes into everything. It's difficult to make that roster. It's difficult to play in those lights. It takes a lot of work behind the scenes. He hasn't done enough work on himself. If this is the best you can offer me, an apology that spans 2 paragraphs, names no one that he's offended, he's speaking in generalities. Where's the humility? How, as a fan, can I even connect to this? I can't.
And look, we are the land of second chances, but Oakland was your second chance. And then New England was your third chance. And we don't know if you're going to get a fourth chance. And that's why I don't like this. I don't think this is sincere. It's a deadline apology. Well, the season's coming. Guess what I need to do? Say something like this. And guess what the worst part about it is? All he's trying to do is really take away from the pain he's feeling, those consequences of all of those actions. But that's when you grow. You need to tear yourself down to repair yourself bigger and stronger. AB, this is critical conflict.
TJ Houshmandzadeh is back. We're joined now by former NFL player Stanford Routt. Time now for Darnell's question of the day. All right, take it away, homeboy.
Yes, sir. Let's move to the 49ers, who got caught up in some controversy this week when their radio announcer Tim Ryan said that Lamar Jackson's skin color makes it hard to tell when he's faking a handoff. The team suspended Ryan 1 game, but Niners players have rallied around the announcers, with Richard Sherman saying Ryan actually made a valid point. Check this out.
It 100% is an issue. What he presented, that's why, it wasn't that offensive, because what he was saying was a great point. Anytime that mesh points, it's been that way since in any zone read scheme. The mesh point is always a tough point of contention. So if you add a dark jersey to it, and it's gonna make it even harder.
This era we live in, that's just what it is. But I know him personally. I speak to him a lot. He loves to watch the D-line. And there's not one type of bone, you know what bone I'm talking about, in his body. So I got his back.
God, do you think Tim Ryan got what he said from 49ers?
Jawbone.
Yes. I think 49ers players told Tim Ryan this, and then Tim Ryan thought, well, hell, the black players told me this. I can say it on radio.
All right.
I think
got a
without
pass.
question. Yeah.
So, just that simple. You think that they were talking to him, around him?
I think they stayed in Florida an extra day.
Okay.
They didn't leave immediately or whatever.
Yep.
And so, I think that they told Tim Ryan this, or there was the conversation going around.
Yeah.
You got Richard Sherman saying it's a 100% valid point.
Right.
And the way they're caping up for him is like, damn. And Tim Ryan's actually eating a bullet for him and not saying, well, damn, I'm just repeating what the players told him.
Wow. He got the incognito pass, and now they all flipping on him. Man, look at this, boy. All right, let me tell you this. All right, one, I've been the team snitch. I used to be the anonymous source. Then finally, I was like, I'm getting paid enough. I'm the man. I am the named source. I used to call cats out. But when I was an anonymous source, I used to read articles written by the journalist, and it sounded just like me, but it was in his tone. And quote me without quotes. I was like, oh, okay. And the team took it a certain way. So I know that relationship when it gets blurred, when you're telling someone something they're not privy to knowing, and then they don't sell you out. That's why I got props for Tim Ryan. He's like, look, if I'm going to get killed for it, I could take it. I'm not going to call anybody else out who gave me ammunition to Whitlock's point. But what I think he just got caught up in is this PC culture. When you describe something, you got to be very careful. And I'll give you this quick example. When I was in Buffalo, Phil Hansen and myself, we used to hang out a lot of times. Get off the elevator. Get off the elevator. Somebody's shocked. Oh, my God. And they say, why are you scared? Oh, well, this big black guy gets off the elevator. All right, go fuck it. People say, oh, they can read that as racist, right? Except when Phil, you get off the elevator. What was that about? Oh, well, this big white guy off the elevator. You have to understand that there are some trigger words and phrases in this culture today that weren't existing even yesterday that you have to be PC about, or are you going to touch that third rail?
I don't see the big deal about it, really. I don't. To me, if I was a player and I said that to Tim Ryan, I would just come out and say, oh, the reason he's saying this is because this is what we told him. If you're the player that said that, what's the big deal?
You going to run into that fire?
Like, I don't see the big deal in it. Like, if you
Didn't Richard Sherman just say it's 100% valid?
I don't. So if
He basically
just come out and say, yeah, that's what we relayed to him. And if you guys take what he said out of context, that's y'all problem. But I don't see the big deal. Lamar Jackson, the mesh point, whatever it may be, his skin is dark, they wore black jerseys. It's not that big of a deal. And if you are the player that told him, just come out and say it.
Well, for me, I don't think that he got this from the players. I don't. Because you got to remember, Tim Ryan played in the league for several years, playing defensive end. So he's able to actually let it resonate with him actually envisioning the mesh point on a football field where it's cloudy and it's rainy. You got the Baltimore Ravens wearing their black jerseys. You got this dark-skinned quarterback, this dark-skinned running back, where he's actually able to envision it on his own. Now, did the players agree with him? Yes, they did. And I see validity to his point also. I think where the point is, just like what Marcellus alluded to, is that in this PC culture, what Tim Ryan said, there is a lot of validity to it because I can imagine as a defensive back, it is already moving 1,000 miles an hour on that football field. You got black jerseys. You got Lamar Jackson, who's black. You got Mark Ingram, who's black. Obviously, that's where it might actually get a little cloudy in there. Now, where Tim Ryan has to make sure that he is aware is that he does not have the right ethnicity. He doesn't have the right pigmentation to make that comment without receiving backlash from it. So I did not take that as a malicious or bigoted comment. I just look at that as he has to be more aware of the culture that we now live in and the sensitivity that it now brings.
Well, I think he has to be aware of being based in San Francisco because I think there's a lot of places where you could say that. And again, when he said it on the radio, it didn't cause an uproar.
Yeah.
It wasn't an uproar until they was announced he was suspended, and the San Francisco Chronicle, the newspaper, made it a big deal. But again, I'm one of these people like, man, I accept the truth from wherever it comes.
Yeah.
It does not matter. If somebody, it doesn't matter. O.J. Simpson can come in here and tell me I'm overweight, and I'm going to be like, yeah, you're right, O.J. I'm not going to care about it. I'm not going to care about it. So it's just, I just accept the truth from wherever it comes.
I'm with you. Now I know who not to invite when I go golfing and if OJ's around. I don't know. Let me say this. Two things, and I'm going to push back a little on Stanford. Let's go at it. One, nobody's the color of a football. We all know.
Yes.
I've never seen somebody the color of that bright brown orange looking thing. I'm like, that's not a color, a pigment color. Two, Tim Ryan retired in '93. The Ravens weren't even around. So for you to say that, you know, he's seen this, you ain't seen that color on a person.
Raiders wear, there's a lot of teams that wear black.
Yeah, they wasn't running the option. It wasn't all black.
It wasn't all black.
Purple?
Yeah.
Black? You so black, it's purple? Like that? That's a black jersey.
Well, Marcellus, I mean. Don't pretend like you ain't heard it.
Thank God for Michael Jordan. Because boy, it was ugly growing up. But the point is, I don't know, man. Just be careful with your words. You know how the game goes. Hey, I've been there.
Whitlock and Wiley, LeVar Arrington, and Rich Ornberger are back. Let's move to Cleveland, where Odell Beckham Jr. continues to stir up drama. OBJ's first year with the Browns has been a major disappointment so far, with more attention on his in-game apparel than his performance, and reporters are already starting to ask the diva wide receiver about his future in Cleveland.
Do you want to be here, or do you not care?
No, I mean, no one knows what the future holds like tomorrow. Like, I couldn't tell you what's going to happen. I couldn't sit here and tell you whether I'm going to be here, want to be here, don't want to be here. This is exactly where I'm at now. And I wouldn't rather be anywhere else, you know. So it's something that, like I said, God has a plan, and in the offseason, everything will figure itself out. I feel like I've been here before asking questions about the next team while I'm on a team already, and that's just kind of something that I'm just tuned out for right now. And you catch me in the offseason, and we'll see what happens.
All right, this morning, Odell tried to walk his comments back, tweeting out, quote, "Okay, I never said I was not happy in Cleveland. Just like everyone else, I'm hopeful for better results, period." Next story, please. All right, the question here is, should the Browns want OBJ back?
Absolutely. One, you just don't find Odell Beckham Jr.'s everywhere. Let's just be real about his natural talent and his production up to this year. Let's be respectful to his resume. Two, you're going to get a humble OBJ. Oh, you got what I just had. You okay? A humble OBJ. Let me walk you through this. Jason Whitlock, what happens? Look, I've had...
You're expecting the skinny Whitlock on Monday, too, ain't you?
Hey, man, you got that Stairmaster. Let's go. Let me say this. We've all been there, the offseason. Like, offseason, that's where you separate from others. The preparation is the separation. You don't win games on Sundays. You win them through the week and you win them in the offseason. Let's just be real about that, building yourself up. Let me tell you something that psychologically happens in the offseason, because I've had tremendous years when you hit the offseason and when you walk into that party and them eyes looking at you, you know what they thinking. Ooh, there go Wiley. But I've also had sorry years when you walk in there and they like, "Oh, what up, Wiley?" And there's a difference, because that's going to make you hit the ground running in a different mindset. OBJ skipped steps this year. Let's just be real about it. He was out here at UCLA throwing balls over Paulie Pavilion, acting like he's getting chemistry with his quarterback. And he's to blame for skipping steps no matter how great he is. He didn't do the Jerry Rice Hill, the same that we always see those guys in that greatness do it. And I blame his quarterback as well, because this is the problem with being a young leader. You don't know when to bark. When you see something going wrong, Baker Mayfield, and you know you need chemistry with OBJ, you need to get him with you or you need to get where he is. And he didn't call him out on that. Next year, all of those issues will be fixed, and they're on the same page.
I don't think that OBJ skipped steps. I think John Dorsey, the general manager of the Cleveland Browns, skipped steps. Is it time to add an Odell Beckham Jr. to that locker room? This culture is in its infancy. This head coaching career is in its infancy. This quarterback has barely cut his teeth as a viable option as a franchise guy. And you're going to bring me Odell Beckham Jr.? Who the hell is going to put reins on this man? Diva wide receivers need a strong support system, and it's outside of just the guys who are the yes men and the soothsayers on the outside saying, yeah, you follow that up with another tweet, you'll get about 1 million likes. I mean, wear that watch on the field. Somebody's got to corral this man, and the culture needs to do it. You need a strong head coach. You need a Belichick or an Andy Reid, a Pete Carroll. Drop him in those situations, he'll flourish. Put him with Mayfield and Kitchens in their first and second years? This is a mess. John Dorsey, who helped build the Green Bay Packers of the 90s with Favre, who helped completely renovate the Chiefs, should be ashamed of himself. You know this better than anyone, Jason.
No, I totally agree. Totally agree.
The Chiefs, I mean, they were a mess.
I mean, that's what a good Penn State take sounds like.
I know that's right. We are. You know what? You got to keep him. He's already here, so there's no need to live in the past. But talent outweighs issues a lot of times. His issues are not legal. He doesn't have legal issues. We're not sitting here. Okay. He's not beating up on anybody. He's not getting no DUIs or anything.
He take care of his kids.
Yeah. He take care of his kids.
I'm there for my family.
He's present. He's present. He's in the community.
Give me a cookie.
People really respect OBJ.
He ain't go to jail.
You know what's interesting is most athletes have a lot
Great
of.
job.
Thank you, sir. Most athletes have issues, but most athletes don't have the type of lens on them that OBJ does. All right, so you could be dealing with a lot of different things emotionally, mentally, complaints, and nobody cares. It's internal. One of your teammates, your locker mate, somebody in your position room.
Diva, LeVar.
And that's fine. But he is a talented, uberly talented, whiny diva.
And he's not in the right location.
And plenty of them have been.
He's not in the right. LeVar, you were as good a college linebacker as we've ever seen.
Here we go.
Did you go to the right situation in Washington? Wouldn't you have been better off in Chicago or someplace else?
But that didn't change my talent that I was bringing to the table.
I understand that. You got to be in the right situation.
He needs to have
the
as
right
you
situation.
Mentioned, it is the right situation. Yes, you're forcing me. Yes, it is the right situation. But his production, I wrote this down, his production lives in a man that can guide him, which could be a coach or a player. So that doesn't necessarily have to be the GM. It doesn't necessarily have to be the head coach.
It ain't in Cleveland.
But it has to be. Well, Cleveland needs to figure it out, because if you can't figure out how to have talented players on your organization,
Jarvis Landry.
If you cannot figure out how to have talented players on your roster,
we're gonna do more with less. That's our game plan.
I don't know how that's gonna work.
He inherited this mess. I mean, he brought it on himself. I shouldn't say inherited it. I mean, it's very similar to Antonio Brown. We were just talking about this. He asked for it in some ways, skipping town on 2 teams. I mean, there is a real onus here on Odell Beckham Jr. Le'Veon Bell, you could argue the same thing. You got your contract, but who are you surrounded by now in New York? I mean, you had much more talent. You had a much more stable fit in Pittsburgh. I'm sure there are things you didn't like going on, but do you like to win? Do you like getting fed the rock from a competent offense? Well, this is what you asked for. I mean, I don't feel bad for Odell Beckham Jr., not in the least bit.
I don't feel bad for him either, but I do understand why he went out there and he said, we'll see what happens. And people say, where's the conviction from Odell Beckham in this situation? Like, you need to state overly that you want to be here in Cleveland. But you got to understand what his mindset is. Last time he was talking, he got what he wanted, but he didn't get what he wanted. So now guess what you realize? I'm not going to say anything that puts me in harm's way, because what Grandma used to always say in the Bible, no weapon against me shall prosper.
Yeah.
But these words can, and they worked against him going from New York to Cleveland. So I understand why he was vague in his response initially. But if you're Cleveland, you can't let go of talent because you can't handle talent. Yes. That's an indictment on what you guys have currently built.
You can move it to New England.
You can move it.
You can move that talent. The talent. You can move it to New England, and hopefully get something very nice in return. Look, I'm sure Tom Brady, if he's back there next year in New England, he'd love to have OBJ and babysit him, and him and Bill Belichick will probably get a great, well-behaved performance out of Odell Beckham Jr.
There was a trade deadline. They could have did that this year.
No, I'm saying, but this offseason, I'm just saying, the question here is, should the Browns want OBJ back? I say no. I say they try to move him now while he has still has high value before everybody figures out he ain't never won squat and he's a headache.
I thought that was the narrative of all diva wide receivers.
They
don't win.
Is.
Okay, so why are you going to now isolate him?
Well, because you move him to New England.
Yeah,
I think Bill Belichick can get something out of it.
I watched the end of the Randy Moss era, and it was a good one. I mean, it was good when it was good. Yeah. Now, this was a problem child receiver who went to New England in search of some stability and a championship ring before exiting the league. May have helped him end up earning his gold jacket. I mean, realistically, though, it got bad at the end. There were times where he was walking off the ball on offense when he had to stalk block a corner. I mean, that's not showing a team-first mentality. And Odell Beckham Jr. is a veteran in this league. He knew exactly what he was doing when he answered with vagueness at the podium.
You've restored my confidence in Penn State. Thank you.
We are. Way to do it, Rich.
Before we go,
way to do it.
I'd like to address LeBron James's latest descent into victimhood. I'll have to admit, I was enjoying my month-long respite from criticizing the Lakers star, Nike pitchman, and communist China sympathizer. It was cool focusing on football and occasionally celebrating LeBron's brilliant start to the NBA season. But here we are again. LeBron has nailed himself to another cross for absolutely no reason. 2 days ago, in a game against the Utah Jazz, broadcasters noticed a shoeless LeBron James jumping and celebrating on the court toward the end of a blowout Lakers victory. James was out of the game, play was ensuing, and LeBron stepped on the court while waving a towel. A Utah broadcaster said, "What is going on here? That's some disrespect, please." As a critic, I'm not sure if criticism could be any milder than that. It's certainly not the equivalent of Daryl Morey's criticism of China, fight for freedom, stand with Hong Kong. But LeBron has certainly reacted like a communist dictator. Yesterday on Instagram, Peking James attempted to shut down dissent over his latest bit of "Hey, look at me" antics. China's favorite grammatically challenged IG poster and freedom fighter wrote, "Imagine doing your job at the highest level to where you're not needed anymore. Giving your shoes to a little girl and boy who you inspire and hope you made proud that night. Then cheering on your teammates because you love seeing them succeed more than yourself. only to be criticized while doing it. All right, we finally arrived at a period, but I digress. People, it's the world we live in, and you can't let it ever stop you from your purpose in life. Negativity, bad energy, hate, envy, etc., will try to bring you down throughout your journey, and it's up to you on how you handle it. I handle it by simply saying thank you with a smile on my face and continue to push forward while doing it. Live, laugh, love. All right, they say power corrupts. It also distorts and dilutes. Marxism and communism promote putting power in the hands of the elite, the talented 10th. Elites interpret all criticism, no matter how harmless, as a threat to their power. They don't believe in free speech. They don't handle criticism with a thank you and a smile. They do what LeBron just did on Instagram. He wrote a passive-aggressive post baiting his 50 million IG followers to attack some nameless, powerless Utah TV broadcasters who had the audacity to mildly question LeBron's behavior. James did it as a warning to the rest of the sports media, same as China warned Daryl Morey. LeBron James has more in common with communist China than Nike allows the mainstream media to tell you. He'll never stand with Daryl Morey, Hong Kong, or any legitimate supporter of free speech. Global elites don't believe in America's fundamental values. All right, welcome back. Whitlock and Wiley, TJ Houshmandzadeh, and Rich Ornberger are back. Let's move to Foxborough, where Tom Brady and company host the Chiefs in a huge matchup Sunday. According to Fox Bet, New England is a 3.5-point favorite, but with Patrick Mahomes in town, Tom Brady is going to have to jumpstart the Patriots' anemic offense going in order to pull out a victory. All right, does Tom Brady need to play at a high level for the Patriots to beat the Chiefs on Sunday?
Yeah, I think so. I think he needs to lead this offense. Defensively, the last 2 weeks, we saw them get attacked in the run game with Baltimore, and then we saw Deshaun Watson in Houston attack them 3 touchdowns in the pass game in the secondary. So to keep pace with whatever the Chiefs do, and the Chiefs have been winning games of late because of takeaways and not necessarily the greatest of Patrick Mahomes. But to keep pace with what the Chiefs are going to come with, yeah, Tom Brady needs to lead that offense.
Oh, I agree with you. I think whoever leads this game early is going to inevitably win this game. And that's difficult to do. There's a mystique that hangs over Foxborough, the building there at Gillette Stadium, a lot of wins. They're on a 21-game consecutive win streak, including the playoffs. I mean, this is a team that roars at home. So you have to somehow figure it out early. And if you get a lead and you have Tom Brady in this offense and the anemia they're facing on the outside with as few weapons as they have, they're going to struggle catching up. So that's the plan. If I'm Andy Reid and the Chiefs, that first 10 or 20 plays I'm scripting, they better be winners. They better go gangbusters, because I think Josh McDaniels on the other side, with the offensive coordinator for the Patriots, is doing much the same.
He has to play well for him to win. The problem, the Chiefs suck run defense. They're 30th ranked run defense. So what effect, if Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick are looking at it, they're going to come out and trying to pound the Chiefs because they're the 30th ranked rush defense in the league. And if you look, Tom Brady is 120-18 at Foxborough. So if you bet and you look at the odds, you're going to go with Brady. I believe the Chiefs, the Patriots are right for the picking now. I believe the Chiefs are going to go in there and win because exactly what you said. Andy Reid knows this is it. And the Patriots, this is a lot on line, because if they lose this game, they have to play Buffalo again. They could literally be a wild card team. And so they're going to come out prepared, but I don't see Brady having as much of an impact because they're going to pound the Chiefs on the ground, or at least they're going to try.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that, TJ, because the Chiefs are going to win by double digits on Sunday. And it's going to be because Tom Brady won't be able to keep pace with Patrick Mahomes, which I'm a little bit surprised everybody's saying they got to have a good game because they've been winning this year without optimum Tom Brady. Yeah. But, I think it's out of respect to Andy Reid and that Chiefs offense that everybody realizes he's going to have to be closer to optimum. He's not going to get away with that defense carrying him. He's going to have to contribute quite a bit, I think, in order to hold off the Chiefs.
Yeah. Well, in part, why we're saying that is because the defense has not been the same, especially last 2 weeks. Yeah. The passer rating before the last 2 weeks, 49.2 opposing quarterbacks. Last 2 weeks, 103.
Do they come out and play the Chiefs man-to-man?
You don't want that problem.
Do they want that?
No, I'm not doing that. Even though Patrick Mahomes ran for 59 yards last time, I am not playing man against those guys out there. Too many weapons.
You got to mix it up. Coverage is you can't sit in anything against Patrick Mahomes because not only is he mobile, not only is he great in the pocket, but he's also intelligent enough to understand what you're trying to do. So you're going to have to disguise, roll coverage. You're going to have to show a plethora of things defensively. I mean, look, if I'm Andy Reid, I am studying that Ravens tape, and I'm thinking to myself, boy, oh boy, we have a quarterback
that can't do that.
Well, who can't do that? But he can do some of that. He can do some of that.
A little bit.
And dislocate that knee again?
Well, let's hope not. Well, I mean, and that's what it is. Assuming health, and getting a little lucky, not getting banged up, that's how you beat them. You utilize the mobility of your quarterback to extend plays, and you script them, just like Deshaun Watson did with the Houston Texans down in Houston. I mean, some of those plays, they were schemed up as red zone touchdowns, and they worked perfectly.
I say this with all due respect. Tom Brady is the greatest of all time. I respect the dude. I really expect him to choke this week. I think he's put a lot of pressure on himself. I think he's highly frustrated. I think he knows he's playing Patrick Mahomes. I think he knows going in, it's like, man, I got to play really well. I can't count on my defense. I think he's going to turn the ball over 2 or 3 times.
That sideline better be that weather then.
Yeah.
Slow him down.
Yeah.
All right. Darnell?
Yes, sir.
Is the Chiefs-Patriots part of the Super Six this weekend?
Yes, it is. Huge shout-out to the 106 fans that split the jackpot yesterday. And before the games kick off on Sunday, download the Fox Sports Super 6 app and play for free for a chance to win Terry Bradshaw's $250,000. Whitlock Marcellus.
Yeah.
Help our fans win some money. Who's your winner? And give us a score.
Chiefs 35-17.
Ooh. Wait.
Patriots 31-27. Ornberger took one of my stats. I got another one. Edelman and Brady are 42-0 against AFC teams when they play each other.
Uncle Jimmy's here to help us talk about our approval ratings for Dak Prescott. But first, Pinky Tuscadero, who's your big dummy of the day?
Hey, man, big dummy of the day. Go to the person that called their co-host Purple. So I guess if you call him Purple, that means we can call you Biggie Draws then, huh?
I guess, all right.
Treat me better than that.
Let's talk Dak Prescott, who had a rough night against the Bears. As the Cowboys lost their 3rd straight game last night, Dallas is now 6-7, but are still atop the NFC East with a crucial showdown with the Eagles looming in Week 16.
Yeah.
Marcellus, you think Dak can lead the Cowboys on a deep playoff run?
Yes, in 2021. I don't know about this year. I don't think this team has it. They don't have the moxie to go on a deep playoff run. They will make the playoffs. I think they win their division, they get in, but they look like a quick out. But it's not going to be because of Dak. It's going to be because of that workhorse engine who got paid, who is underachieving the last 5 weeks, Ezekiel Elliott.
I agree with you. In 2021, Dallas should have some rookie quarterback that'll step in.
That's not Dak.
And do a hell of a job. Or is that
Dak.
2020? Yeah, we're in 2019.
Yeah.
But anyway, next year, some rookie quarterback come in and do a great job.
Dak.
All right, Uncle Jimmy, Dak Prescott, one of your favorite topics.
Look at him.
I don't have. What the hell are you wearing? What's your take on Dak?
Look, man, first of all, I'm going to be 100 with you, man. I don't even care no more. I'm starting to love this Dallas Cowboys team. They make my job too easy, baby. And personally, y'all need to be ashamed of yourself for taking money for this mess, man. Look, man, America's team made it so easy for you, nephew. You went and pulled a Kenny Rogers analogy out of your anal cavity, and it worked.
I did. Gotta know when to hold it.
Listen up here. Listen. What I got for y'all today, this ain't no Kenny Rogers, no Kenny Loggins, no Kenny G. This ain't nothing but me, Jimmy D. Yo, Darkless, you claim to be a DJ.
You know it.
Give me a little beat right here. Listen to this. Listen. Give me something to go like this. Go boom. Boom, 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 boom. Here we go. Said this here's for that ice cold, them Cowboys, them mofos. This here's for Jerry Jones and Ezekiel and Jason Garrett looking like a ferret. Y'all styling, y'all wilding, y'all running your mouth and looking silly. That was 4th and 10 and y'all tried it again and guess what? You didn't make it. I'm so hot. I didn't know why Jason Garrett ain't been fired yet. I'm so stuck. I know Jason. I didn't know why Jason Witt ain't he want to go in retirement. It was Thursday night up under the lights and y'all didn't even fight. Y'all didn't even fight. Woo!
Damn, you
Now
just
stop. Wait a minute. Look at my cup. I ain't got no liquor in it. Ezekiel, get the check. You know what, Mario? Mario, you so sorry.
Oh, you done messed it up, Bruno.
You messed it up, man. Hey, man. You got tux on with same belongs. I gotta kiss myself so pretty. You too high. I gotta call the fireman. Too cold. Here we go, y'all. Listen here. It's all about that money. Dak, they ain't gonna give it to ya. Dak, they ain't gonna give it to ya. Dak, they ain't gonna give it to ya. Cause D-Town Funk don't give it to ya. Huh? It's Thursday night up under the fight and y'all didn't even fight. D-Town funks me up. Yo, D-Town funks me up. D-Town funks me up. Yo, D-Town funks me up.
You Bruno Mars, huh?
D-Town funks me up. Yo, D-Town funks me up. Cause it was Thursday night up under the lights and y'all didn't even fight.
That's not
y'all
bad.
Y'all didn't even fight.
Let me go ahead and go to my approval rating.
But you fighting to stay on that beat.
Y'all believe the hype.
He fighting on that beat, though.
Bruno, we got it.
We got it,
Bruno.
Where you go?
We got it. Nice job, Bruno.
Oh,
Hey,
man. That's the best whatever.
All right, let me go to my approval rating
I feel
for
like
Dak
the Dallas
Prescott.
Cowboys, man. I'm a mess.
All right, I got Dak all the way down to 56, a role player.
Oh, yeah.
Dropped his drop performance to 12, dropped his all-time greatest couple points, character a point, authenticity 2 points. 56.
I got him at a 53, higher than Bruno Mars right now.
Damn, you got him lower than me.
I do, man. Come on,
and you wanted paid.
I still, hey, look, that's franchise quarterback money right there. 53 a year. Look, he's underperforming right now, but it's not all on him. Look at the running game, really. And the defense, underachieving.